So I've talked about in a number of my videos about how the special operations careers, especially at the tier one level, can be extremely taxing and extremely hard on your personal and family life. What if I told you that there is a special operations career where you get the best of both worlds? You get to be an operator, get all the training, get to go on the deployments, but then also get to go home and spend majority of your time with your family. I give you the hidden gem of the special operations community, the National Guard Green Beret. So quick recap of my background. I spent 3 years at 5th Group Special Forces and 8 years at a Tier 1 unit before I dropped my warrant packet to become a Black Hawk pilot. So let's get this out of the way. Like most people, if you know anything about the reserves and the National Guard, you automatically have the stigma that they're not as well trained and they're not as good at their jobs. And in a lot of cases, this is actually true. But one exception to this is the National Guard Green Beret. So the National Guard Green Beret goes through the exact same selection, the exact same Q course, and has to meet the exact same standards as their regular Army counterparts. So quick background of the National Guard and the regular Army SF. So there are 7 Special Forces groups, 5 Special Forces groups in the regular Army, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 10th. And then the 2 National Guard Special Forces groups are 19th and 20th. And 19th and 20th Group are not anything new. They were created in 1961, and they've been operating in almost every single theater that the U.S. operates in. And they do all this exact same jobs that their regular Army counterparts do as well. But the biggest advantage of being a National Guard is you don't get to suffer through the worst part of being in a regular Army Special Forces unit, garrison. Obviously, if you joined SF, you're there for the deployments and you're there for the training, which both can be amazing. But the problem is when you come back and you are not in training or you're not on a deployment, you're in a garrison. You have to deal with admin and all sorts of BS. And you wouldn't think that you'd have to deal with a lot of the BS that maybe you see in the regular Army, but you still do. The National Guard gets to skip that. When National Guard guys come back from training or from deployments, they go back to their lives. And in a lot of cases, because a lot of them have civilian careers that are sort of involving their actual job within SF, whether you've got 18 Bravos or SWAT, you've got 18 Charlies who are engineers, you have 18 Deltas who are in the medical field. They are actually can be, if not as good, if not even better at their jobs, because when they're home, instead of dealing with all their admin's BS of garrison, they're continuing their expertise. They're getting better at their careers, and they get to choose what they want to do. And then one of the questions I might be asked is, well, where's the downside? Do they get less training? Actually, in a lot of cases, they get more training. The National Guard, in my experience, does a better job of setting their Green Berets up with training than the regular Army units do. So when the National Guard Green Berets aren't in training or they're not on deployment and they're not dealing with the BS of garrison, they're at home building lives with their families, building careers, continuing their expertise, and just living life. And they actually get to have a say in what they do outside of the actual military. And to be honest, one of the biggest pros is that because they don't have to deal with the BS of garrison, they actually have time to reset, mental recovery, which also lends its hand to longevity within the military. National Guard guys can definitely go longer and have less burnout than their regular Army counterparts. And it also gives them mental recovery, which means they come back sharper, stronger, and with more motivation. So instead of going to these useless meetings and this admin BS that we all have to suffer through in garrison, they're at home sharpening the edges, getting better, spending time with their families, living life. I remember on my first training that I went to at 5th Group, I went to a training course called Griffin Group. Probably a lot of know it. And that's where I met my first National Guard Green Beret for 19th Group. And I have never met a happier man in my entire life. And as I continue to go to training and even on certain deployments, I definitely saw a trend that National Guard guys were always happier just in life in general. And now I see why. They really do combine the best of both worlds. So if you're looking for a job in the soft community, you want to be an operator, but still have a bit of a civilian life, have a say in what you can do, but also have a family, National Guard Green Beret is definitely something you can check out. It really is the hidden gem of the special operations community. So if you're looking to serve at one of the highest levels of the special operations community, it's still be an operator, but not give up your entire life in the process, you should seriously consider putting in a packet to go to SFAS through the National Guard. And if you're interested in this path, drop a comment below, send me a message, and I can get you guys in contact with many of my friends who actually are National Guard Green Berets, and they can really help you with the process. I appreciate you guys listening to this video. Like and subscribe, comment. It really helps the algorithm and really helps this channel grow, and so I can continue to create more videos, spread the life lessons that I've learned, and help people in their decision processes as they go on. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you later.